Philosophy ISU 2015. It's a Conference Out of This World by Katie Fortune. Have you ever asked yourself the question, how can I live the best life possible? It's simple, really. You simply have to know what makes you happy. That could be golfing, riding a bike, helping with a charity, teaching kids how to read, helping the blind learn Braille. It doesn't matter. But once you know what makes you happy, then you have to decide what you believe in. So, do you believe in God? No? Well, then are you atheistic? And from there you would ask yourself, do I believe in right and wrong? And if yes, then where do ethics come from? And should I follow a moral code? And so on. And the answers will vary. If your answer to do you believe in God was yes, then there's a whole different set of questions to follow. Today I'm going to share with you what I think the best life possible looks like. I'm going to cover 3 areas: metaphysics, metaethics, and aesthetics. Metaphysics is the study of what is beyond the ordinary. These are questions that might blow your mind, but they're important to ask, and they're very important to how to live the best life. These questions might include, what is real? Are we living? Are we real? Crazy questions that you may or may not know how to answer, but they're important to figuring out how to live your life. Ethics is the study of what is right and what is wrong. Some people believe that we have ethics, while others don't. It all depends on your views of life. If you believe in God, you probably believe in ethics. If you're atheistic, you may not. You may believe that we get to choose how we live our lives all on our own. Finally, aesthetics is the study of what is art and what is beauty. Aesthetics talks about the pretty things in life. But by knowing what you perceive beauty to be, you know what pleases you and what pleases your senses. You aren't going to go to a desert if you like lush green mountains. You aren't going to live in central Paris if you like the countryside. Living the best life is centered around your preferences and what you like, not what the world likes. All of these topics affect how a person can lead the best life possible. Metaphysics asks us those important questions that we usually don't want to think about. But when we do, when we really dig into our psyche and think about why we believe the things that we do, we are that much closer to living the best life possible. Our ethics tell us how to act. It tells us what's right and wrong, and even if we don't choose to listen, it's always there nagging us in the pit of our stomach. When we know what we believe is right and wrong, or if we believe there's any of that at all, we know how to live our lives better. Part of ethics is figuring out if we even believe in morals at all, and some people don't. Some people think we have free range, and if you do, that's totally up to you, but you have to know how to live your life accordingly. Finally, aesthetics. If we know what is appealing to us and what we find beautiful, then it is easier to live a life where our senses are pleased and we are happy with our surroundings. When we know what's beautiful, we know what makes us happy, what makes us smile, what makes us glow. So, knowing what you see as beautiful is crucial to knowing how to live that best life possible. Some would argue that living the best life possible is a very hard quest to go after. But if we as philosophers do not try to better ourselves, then we are never going to grow in our knowledge. Step right up, folks, step right up. Our first debate of the day is, does God exist? In one corner we have René Descartes with the belief that yes, God does in fact exist, and it is the sheer possibility that a supreme being could exist that proves his existence. So this might be a little confusing to understand. It was actually one of René Descartes' hardest beliefs to understand, even though it was a pretty simple concept. But think about it this way. Have you ever thought of something as being perfect? Well, if you have, then what is perfect to line it up against? René Descartes argued that the only way we could see imperfection in the world was if there was already something perfect to line it up against, and he argued that that perfect thing was God. What Descartes was trying to say was just because we could think that there might be a God, there might be something perfect out there, proved his very existence. In the other corner we have Friedrich Nietzsche, with the belief that not only does God not exist, but he is dead and we have killed him. See, Nietzsche believed that God had died due to the younger generation's disinterest in religion. and that there would be no spark of revival that would give them that interest. So God would remain dead in the eyes of the world. Nietzsche was raised in a very strict religious home, and this caused him to see religion as confining. He thought that the younger generation was escaping religion so that they might truly live. So what's my verdict? God is not dead. In my eyes, he is very much alive. He is the God of the universe, and he reigns almighty. I do believe that God exists, for a very similar reason to Descartes, because I can feel in my heart that there is someone who watches over me and loves me unconditionally. I know that there is a God. For me to live the best life possible, it involves God. God lets me live my life to the fullest, and I don't need any fillers when I'm with God. I used to depend on partying and boys to fill my life, but when I'm with God, I am the happiest I've ever been. And yeah, some days I'm sad, but I know that he's beside me, protecting me all the way. For me, the best life involves happiness and the guarantee that I am loved unconditionally, and that there is a life for me after I leave this earth. For our second debate, where do ethics come from? In this corner we have Plato with the divine command theory. See, Plato believed that all of our moral obligations came from God's will and command. He believed that the very idea of morals came from God, and that we lived a good and righteous life to please him. In the other corner, we have Thomas Hobbes, who believed that as humans, we lived in a state of nature, and that morals did not come from God, but from our natural being. If you think of it this way, by the time we enter kindergarten, we know that you shouldn't kill another person. But why is that? See, Hobbes believed that it was because nature naturally instills a moral compass within us. We are all born with a general sense of right and wrong, and we decide if we follow it or not. He also believed that people were generally egotistic and bad, and that morals were just guidelines that we could choose to follow. And the winner is Plato. I honestly can't see why I'd follow any sense of right and wrong if it wasn't to please Jesus and follow his teachings. Knowing your view on ethics is an integral step in determining how to live the best life possible. Once you know your view on ethics, you can decide how to live your life. If you think it's immoral to pollute the air, then you probably shouldn't be taking any long road trips. But if you find it morally appeasing to help out with a charity, then go and be a blessing. The future sits in your hands. For our third and final debate, we have what is beauty? In this corner, we have David Hume. He believed that beauty was subjective to taste. Personal taste, that is. That meant that beauty cannot be given one single definition to suit everybody. Because what I find beautiful is ugly in someone else's eyes. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And in this corner we have Immanuel Kant, who believed that beauty was rational. He believed that our senses determined beauty, and that they made a rational judgment based on what we saw. And like Hume, he believed that beauty was subjective, but not by taste, by the process of the brain and how it worked. He argued that there were 4 steps: disinterestedness, universality, necessity, and purpose, all which together decided what the brain saw to be beautiful. Bum-ba-da-ba, and the winner is Hume. I believe the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I perceive the world around me in a very different way than you would. I may find the countryside open and majestic, whereas you might find your beauty in architectural work. When we realize that we all see the world differently, it lets us discover where we find beauty and seek the places most beautiful in our minds. Once you know what makes you smile, the best life is not that far away. Trying to live the best possible life affects all aspects of living. Let's take a look at relationships, job choices, family choices, and leisure time. Relationships. Now that we know the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, we know what we want and we can go after it. If we know what we find beautiful, we really know what we're looking for, whether that's in a friendship or in a possible partner. And remember, don't let the perception of others get in your way. You know what's beautiful. If you follow your heart, it won't lead you astray. Job choices. Now that we know if we believe in ethics or not, we can decide if we believe in right and wrong. For example, don't go work for a big oil company if you think the pollution is wrong, or if you think that it's killing God's planet. Work for a charity if you think helping people is rewarding. It's all about you and your choices. Follow your heart and you'll be just fine. Family choices. We can learn a little from what Descartes says about God. When looking for a husband and starting a family, think about the way that you want to raise your children. If you want them to believe in God and be raised up by a strong church family, then don't marry an atheist who refuses to let his children go to church. Remember, living the best life possible is comprised of every little decision. Leisure time. We can relate this last topic back to the divine command theory of Plato. Spend your time doing positive activities that make you happy and support the kind of life that you want to live. Be proactive and not self-destructive in what you do. It's best in the long run if you want to continue living the best life possible. For me, the best life possible is one where I'm free of all expectations, where I'm free to be who I am and express that in the way that I want to. For me, the best life is one that is heavily influenced by God, one where I am happy and where I know freedom, where I can chase down the most unattainable dreams and laugh when I don't reach them. The best life for me is one where I am simply allowed to be me. It's full of dreams and hope and aspirations, and I know that one day I'll reach.